Chapter 5 on step 5 from my book 12 Steps to One Hero. The chapter is called Tell Someone You Trust with All Your Heart Every One of Your Heartfelt Secrets. Step 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Yes, you do need to say about that one, that secret too. This stage, this step, is the leaving of the known limits into a realm of unknown limits. The usual person is more content. He is even proud to remain within the indicated bounds, and popular belief gives him every reason to fear so much as the first step into the unexplored, explained Joseph Campbell. The adventure is always and everywhere a passage beyond the veil of the unknown, of the known into the unknown. The powers that watch at the boundary are dangerous. To deal with them is risky. Yet for anyone who, with competence and courage, the danger fades. In recovery terms, it is the turning point decision on which way to go in life. For the alcoholic, it is standing at the pub door, but rather than opening it, turning around and walking the other way. It is when their hand that has been placed on the handle of a door into the 12 steps meeting room actually turns the handle and opens the door. It is the moment in a 12 steps meeting when they realise that when people say they walk through the door or enter the rooms, as they frequently do say, it has much more significance than just walking in. It is in fact a spiritual statement, a vow of intent. It is saying, I am responsible for my life and I can do this. Here I am. This is me. When someone going through the 12 steps starts to read out their resentments and secrets, all of them, no stone left unturned, everything put down on the table, they are really setting out now to a most extraordinary place. The result, if done thoroughly and honestly, is totally transformational. This is a spiritual law that applies to everyone with the human condition. A change is being put into action. You have to step into fearlessness. You must walk the walk. But there may well be more resistance. Many people doing the 12 steps stop here. The threshold guardian appears too formidable. Fear grasps hold. They go no further this time. They will go back to the humdrum, the grey and drab, the making do. The addiction, the mental disease, the spiritual sickness, the codependency, the crime, the not living, the dying a slow, tortuous death. But for those that do cross the threshold, it is plus ultra, further beyond, the Latin phrase that's Spain's national motto. That's a reversal of the original phrase non plus ultra, meaning nothing further beyond. This was said to have been inscribed as a stark warning on the daunting Pillars of Hercules, the rocky towering promontories that flank the Strait of Gibraltar, which marked the edge of the then known world for the Spanish people. The motto was turned around, though, to encourage Spanish explorers to ignore the old warning, to have no fear and go beyond the Pillars of Hercules. Hercules being a Roman hero of superhuman strength and courage. It is the knowing that somewhere deep inside, there is the fearlessness and courage to face the darkest cave you as the leading character can ever imagine, with the most forbidding, fire-breathing, fear-breeding dragon guarding it, and to enter that cave and slay the dragon to reach the treasure it guards deep inside the deep inside. It's entering the darkest part of the forest that you can see, where there is no trail, and so having to tread your own path. It is the first realization that it is possible for a person to go beyond the two cherubim on the veil of the Holy of Holies. The world the hero goes out to confront holds untold infinite promise, but it can also be ominously threatening. So who is it that can possibly do any of this? The answer is all of us. For the hero is inside everyone. We're made so. At this stage, though, the mentor support is most definitely needed, that encouragement and wise words from someone who has taken a similar journey and gone beyond, from the ordinary world into the extraordinary world and made it back again, to tell the tale. Similarly, Recovery cannot be effectively ventured into alone, as it is never on your own terms. You need the guidance, knowledge, wisdom. You need to see and hear the living proof. You need a dragon slayer. You need a living conduit to the power within you, and so to the greater power. You need someone who has themselves stepped from the dark side into the light, someone who consequently carries the light inside, who can also because of this see all the light you presently cannot see. This is someone who has not just theorized or wished or imagined or talked about it endlessly at parties. This is someone who has fearlessly gone to the place they least wanted to go in order to get that which they most needed. They have gone through the darkness to find the light. It is not someone who has written all the books and got all the initials after their name if they have not been there. You cannot expect that. Beware of wisdom that has not been earned. So, this is a big life-changing moment, and step 5 requires all of your resolve, described perfectly well in the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book, open quotes. All of AA's 12 steps ask us to go contrary to our natural desires. They all deflate our egos. When it comes to ego deflation, few steps are harder to take than step 5, but scarcely any step is more necessary to long-time sobriety and peace of mind than this one, close quote. For anyone who does read out their step 4 list to another person and God as they understand God, there will be a feeling of being at one and belonging. Loneliness and that sense of isolation will leave. Dante wrote, "The deepest isolation is to suffer separation from the source of all light and life and warmth." Humility will grow in the new light. In fact, humility increases the warmth of the glow. There will be the initial glimpses of the realization of who you really are. You will know the meaning of grace. Many people doing the 12 steps who said they were agnostic or atheistic say it was during this stage when they first felt the presence of something greater in the world. Everyone can be a hero, but not everyone, by a long way, becomes a hero. If you do take this route, you will be on the road less travelled, the broad golden way that leads to a purposeful and fulfilling life that reaches new freedom and happiness. In AA's big book it says, open quotes, "We feel we are on the broad highway, walking hand in hand with the spirit of the universe," close quotes. It is an external adventure and an internal journey. Jesus said, "For many are called, but few are chosen." The external call goes to everyone, but only the elect experience the internal call. Confessing like this to another person is, of course, nothing new. In every century, it's been something in the lives of all spiritual people. Some religion today still has confession as a part of it. So too does psychology, in which a session with a coach or counsellor most often involves the deep need every human being has for practical insight and knowledge of their own character flaws and for a discussion of them with an understanding, trustworthy other person. And that means talking about, admitting, and realising the truth. With step 5, now you need to read your step 4 list out to the universe, or a higher power, or God, or something that has more power than you alone, plus another person. This is where a trusted sponsor or other mentor is essential. This person is there to guide you as they have done this themselves. Certainly this is the best way, but also so that you can realise you are quite human with everything that you read out and see that another person will still love and care for you after hearing your each and every resentment and secret. To let you know you are not alone in what you've done or what you carry inside, as well as to encourage trust. They will likely let you know a few of their very similar secrets and resentments, with different names and places, but with the same reasons, drives, flaws, feelings, and reactions. You will realise that you were not so different at all, that you are not on this planet as someone who is so different from others, not now and not throughout the history of humankind. You will know that there were people who lived 10,000 years before with the same reasons, drives, flaws, feelings, and reactions. You will never feel lonely or as alienated and isolated again. You will begin to get the feeling that you are being forgiven, because you truly are. You start to sense that you can truly forgive others too. You need someone trusted here to hear you, because it's essential to make sure you're not deceiving yourself, as you may have done in many ways in life, as many of us do, such as by what is known as psychotherapy as idealization, whereby you convince yourself that something or someone was better than they actually were, or at least not as bad or as evil. This is to avoid the pain of facing the truth, of looking at the wound, of admitting that your soul is crying for you. Then there's such as repression, suppression, depression, and more, all manner of, as the word suggests, pressing things down. For most of us, it is the case that we cannot appraise ourselves even-handedly at all. This is because such as self-esteem, self-image, irritations and anger can lead us to cover up some of our character flaws, or we convince ourselves that they are without doubt caused by other people. On the other hand, an excess of self-condemnation, pangs of a guilty conscience and deep regret can lead to a magnification of our fallibilities. If you are to truthfully realise and acknowledge who you really are on the inside, you need outside help from someone who knows what they're doing. And again, someone who has been there and done it is always best by far, if not vital. It's this scenario. You are trapped down a deep, dark hole and desperate to be free, when someone appears at the top and tells you that they have written 5 books about getting out of deep, dark holes, have studied it for 20 years, and they have a degree in it. Then, next to them appears someone else who says they have been down that deep, dark hole too, and they know a way out. They ask you if you'd like them to help you get out. Who do you choose? Perhaps you know that you have to share with this person some things about yourself that you sense another person ought to know. You would be much better off to speak with someone who is experienced in this. Intelligent as they may be, you wouldn't ask a doctor how to build a house. Here, the listening ear you choose is vitally important. If you want to hear the right suggestions and advice delivered in the right way, come back to your listening ear. Looking at matters of the spirit on your own, especially in early years, is reckless. As you read out your step 4 list, you will realise that everyone else who has done so before you has realised that we don't always, or in fact often at all, know the bigger picture about other people and their situation. A little story, but also a great one. A man had been working nights as a carer at a hospice, where just a few hours previously one of the elderly women there who he had become very fond of had sadly died. He had held her hand as she took her last breath. He was exhausted, which is why he fell asleep on the early morning bus home. When the driver woke him up at the last stop, the man explained he'd gone way past his stop, and so the driver said he could jump off at the right place on the return journey that he was about to start off on now. But that for some point of an official company regulation, the driver had to ask the man to get off the bus and get back on it at the bus stop. That was the start of the journey, just around the corner. No need to pay again, just jump on, said the driver. Sorry, I know it's a daft rule, but I've got to get going now, as I'm already 15 minutes behind schedule. So the man got off the bus, and in the wind and cold lashing rain, he dashed round the corner and saw the bus there with its doors open. He ran and jumped straight on, but just as he nodded at the driver, he heard a barrage of angry insults fly at him. He looked round. There was a long queue that he had hardly even noticed. "Oi, mate," shouted someone, their face twisted in anger. "Get to the back of this bloody queue. I've been waiting here in this damn cold and rain for ages as well. Why do you think you're so bloody special then?" Several others there followed that up with more direct and offensive one and 2-word insults. We don't always know the big picture. Frequently, we don't know anything of it at all. One of the ever-present resentments of this modern world is the driver who cuts someone up as they race by them. Now, 99 times out of 100, it's likely it's just someone driving badly and too fast, a self-centered person who threatens everyone. But, firstly, depending on what mood you're in, you will either shrug your shoulders, utter a verbal curse at them, or want to chase them for 100 miles until they stop and you can get out and punch them. Same situation, different reaction, and that's all to do with you. Then there's the big picture aspect. Maybe, just maybe, that person is rushing to a hospital because they received the call they've been dreading for the past few months. Maybe. And wouldn't that completely reverse any state of vexation, any bad feeling, our ill will, any resentment we have for them? We just don't often know the big picture. In heroes' journey stories, this stage is the great leap of faith into the unknown. Neo on the ledge high up the building in the Matrix, although he doesn't take it at first and ends up captured. Harry Potter running at the London King's Cross railway station wall on platform 9 3/4. There is a danger of death. For many potential heroes, this is the point of the true beginning, and it symbolises the hero's willingness and commitment to take on the quest. It is the revealing that the potential to be a hero is making a significant move forwards. Potential derives from Latin potentia, power. So this stage is showing the power is there. It's a greater power than has been known before taking this step. Who wouldn't want some greater power? God knows we need it. It's crossing the threshold into the unconscious, the point of no return here. It's the death of the old to allow the birth of the new. In real life, it's akin to leaving home, quitting that job, travel to a new country, seeing life completely differently due to a life-changing event such as the coronavirus pandemic or the bereavement of a loved one. It brings to mind that the greatest regret of the elderly or those dying is nearly always not trying something that required some faith, be it for such as love, a vocation or travel. They never even answered the call to adventure, let alone go on any part of that adventure. Never is there much regret for trying something that didn't work out or even that completely failed. The greatest regret for those now with not enough time left is always something for which they lacked confidence. And Latin comes from Latin meaning having full trust. Incidentally, vocation, meaning a strong feeling of suitability for a particular career, occupation or place in life, derives from Latin vocare, to call. Unless you want to die with your music still inside you, always answer that call. Now, just imagine if you could always having full trust in yourself and in the world at large. That is just what the 12 steps are about. That is where the hero's journey goes. If you know fearlessness, if you become fearless, then you can do anything. If you choose this, if you take responsibility, if you stand tall, if you find your true heart, or even if you still have to fake it to make it just yet. If you read out loud to another person your step 4 list, all of it, watch how the rocket blasts off and Dorothy sets out on the yellow brick road. This is a commitment. It is when separation moves towards initiation. It is the point of really leaving the ordinary world and entering the extraordinary world. An infinite prize awaits for anyone who goes this way and continues. It is the knowing and believing that base metal can be turned into gold. And you need to know here that one of the whole points of this is so that one day you return and give away what you have gained in order to keep it. When the rocket returns to Earth, you will need to and want to share the light of the stars with everyone you can. It could even be known as the success of love.